So Jordan Reed is a player that I've been watching for a good amount of time, mainly because, my favorite team, the Eagles, is in the same division that he's in. He was drafted back in 2013 in the 3rd round, but he's now currently a free agent. The Redskins have moved on, and I think maybe it's time for him to move on too. Now here's a guy that, when healthy, he's been an above average tight end, maybe even squeaking into that elite category at certain moments of his career. I mean, when you look at his career statistics, it hasn't been the longest career, only about 6 years. His best season was easily 2015 when he had 11 touchdowns, his team made the playoffs, and in that playoff game, he had 9 catches on 17 targets for 120 yards and a touchdown. The dude is talented. The only problem is he can't stay healthy. Now what I'm going to do in this video is go ahead and show you guys his injury history, and then I'm going to compare it to certain players, notable names and some not so notable, that have retired recently, and pretty much preach to this man why it's time for him to retire. Now chances that he watches this video are very slim to none, but I still want to just say my piece. Alright, we're going to have a concussion counter in the bottom left hand side of the video, so let's just get it started. November of 2010, head cranial concussion, grade 1, first concussion. September of 2011, thigh hamstring pull. October of 2011, head cranial concussion, grade 1, concussion number 2. November of 2011, pedal ankle sprain. September 22nd, 2012, head cranial concussion, grade 1. Concussion number 3, and he's not even in the NFL yet. For reference, even though we're not using Gronk because he's currently back in the league, I wish I could have used him. I really do. But yeah, he's back in the league, Gronk has only had 2 major concussions in his career. His entire career. Think of Gronk, the way he plays, how violent he is, when people try to tackle him. Just his play style is honestly incredible that he's only had 2 concussions. Jordan Reed has had 3, and we're not even in the NFL portion of his career yet. Let that sink in. All right, we're going back to the list, okay? September 2013, a leg thigh bruise. November of 2013, head cranial concussion, grade 3. Concussion number 4, and it was grade 3, meaning it was severe. Prior to this, it had been just grade 1, which is mild. Moderate is grade 2, but this was a grade 3. And it was his 4th concussion of his career. So obviously that one put him on IR. Fast forward to the next year, August 2014, hand thumb sprain. September 2014, thigh hamstring strain, grade 2. He was out for 4 games, then in the same year in November, he had a thigh hamstring sprain. In May 2015, he had a knee strain, grade 1. August of 2015, thigh hamstring sprain. September of 2015, leg quad strain. Concussion number 5 came in October of 2015. Luckily for him, this was only a grade 1. November of the same year, he had a knee MCL sprain, grade 2. Concussion number 6 came in October of 2016. Head cranial concussion, grade 1. November of 2016, a shoulder AC joint separation. July 2017, pedal toe fracture. September 2017, a chest pectoral bruise. October 2017, thigh hamstring tear, grade 3, which pretty much ended his season. February of 2018, a pedal toe fracture. And then December of 2018, a pedal toe sprain. And then in 2019, he suffered yet another concussion. Number 7 of his career during a preseason game after a hit delivered by Keanu Neal. In February of 2020, it was reported that he was still in the league's concussion protocol, so he was released by the Redskins shortly after. You know what they say about Jordan? How you can split his career in half, and both halves of his career would still be like one of the best players to ever live. I feel like you could do the same thing with Jordan Reed and his injury history. You cut this in half, you would still say both halves are players that need to retire. Luke Kuechly, one of the best linebackers of all time, decided to call it quits back in January of this year. Now he had 3 concussions in his career, not even half as many as Jordan Reed, yet he still decided to call it quits. In his retirement video, he was talking about how there's only one way to play this game since he was a little kid: play fast, play physical, and play strong. The 2013 Defensive Player of the Year said that at this point, he doesn't know if he's able to do that anymore. He was only 28. Jordan Reed is 29. Now, he didn't mention concussions in his announcement, but we kind of all know that that's probably one of the main reasons why he decided to call it quits. Now, back in 2019, Colts quarterback Andrew Luck decided to announce his retirement. This one probably shocked me the most out of all of them. Taking a look at Andrew Luck's injury history, you can see things like sprained shoulder, you can see lacerated kidney, which sounds extremely painful, partially torn abdominal muscle, you can see reports of torn cartilage, you can see concussion, but you really only see one concussion. Maybe there's another one somewhere in the mix, but a lot less than Jordan Reed. At just 29 years old, Luck decided to call it quits due to the physical and mental toll of several injuries suffered during his career. Calvin Johnson was another individual who pretty much shocked everyone when he retired, because he called it quits after he posted his 6th consecutive 1,000-yard season. Pretty much he was still in his prime. Like, the dude was an absolute stud. He was quoted saying, "When you wake up in the morning, you can't walk. You know you're shuffling across the floor. I gotta go through like a little routine when I wake up in the morning to get everything functioning and ready to go. But the only thing is, everything just goes back to gridlock so fast once I sit down, because you know you go to work again." He also continued, "It's clear to see when you get a concussion. In football, concussions happen. If not on every play, then they happen like every third play, you know? With all the helmet contact, guys hitting the ground, heads hitting ground, it's simply when your brain touches your skull from the movement or the inertia, man. It's simple to get a concussion, you know? I don't know how many I've had over my career, you know, but I've definitely had my fair share." Now, I don't think you get a concussion every play, like Megatron said, but he has a point. There are certain players that will feel something just like a concussion, but will not say anything because they just want to keep playing. They want to keep on getting that money, getting that moolah. And you're probably like, okay, well, maybe Jordan Reed wants to make that moolah too. He's made plenty. His career earnings are upwards of $32 million. That's pretty much the same amount that Barry Sanders had when he retired. Sanders, one of the best running backs, if not the best that ever lived, was healthy, only 30 years old when he retired. He was still the best running back in the league at the time. He didn't retire because of injuries or anything like that. He retired because he pretty much lost interest in playing for a franchise that didn't put a winning team on the field. Patrick Willis, another linebacker that decided to call it quits early. He wasn't just a linebacker, man. This dude was incredible. One of the best in the league at the time. He was quoted saying, "For me, I felt like it was the perfect time. My body, everything. The stars aligned for me. I never set out to play this game for anyone else's expectations or what they thought I should do and how I should do it." He went on injury reserve in 2014 due to a toe surgery after appearing in just 6 games. In March of 2015, he announced his retirement from the NFL. He continued saying, "I always told myself when I no longer had the passion to play, I would let it go and pass it on to the next man up. And I feel like I was able to do that to Navarro and continue on my path in life." Here's a man who played 8 seasons in the NFL. First 3 seasons, he didn't miss a game. 4th season, he missed 1 game. 5th season, he missed 2. It wasn't until his last season in which he missed more than 3 games in a season. Let's look at Jordan Reed's again. He's never played 1 full season. Now you may be saying, okay, well CK, you know, Patrick Willis, he made $42 million in his career. That's like $10 million more than Jordan Reed. He should keep on playing. He should get more paychecks. Barry Sanders was a different time. If he played in this era, he would have made $100 million. Okay, you make a decent point, all right? But hear me out. I introduced to you Hussein Abdullah, a former safety who was signed by the Vikings as an undrafted free agent back in 2008. He retired from football after 7 seasons, citing concern over the 5 concussions he had accumulated during his career. That's 2 less than Jordan Reed, for those keeping track at home. And you want to know his career earnings? $5.9 million. Not even a quarter of what Jordan Reed made during his career so far. Next up, let's look at Rashard Mendenhall, who was drafted 23rd overall by the Steelers in the 2008 NFL Draft. In the rookie season, he suffered a fractured shoulder, courtesy of Baltimore Ravens linebacker Ray Lewis. It's what he did. He injured people. That's how hard he hit. He was placed on injury reserve for the remainder of the season. On January 1st, 2012, Mendenhall left the last regular season game against the Browns with a knee injury on the final play of the first quarter. It was soon discovered that he had torn his ACL and was placed on injured reserve. Here's a guy who played in at least 15 games 4 out of his 6 seasons in the NFL. The other 2 were cut short due to season-ending injuries, but he had decided to call it quits and he hadn't suffered even close to the amount of concussions that Jordan Reed had. Oh, and you want to know how much he made? Not even half as much as Jordan Reed. So there you have it, okay? Jordan Reed, there's no reason why you should still be playing in the NFL. Retire, call it quits, you've made plenty of money. At your peak, you were one of the best tight ends in the NFL. If someone like Luke Kuechly, Calvin Johnson, if they don't think they can return to that dominant force they were in their prime, what makes you think you can? I've pleaded my case. I'm looking out for you. You've suffered a numerous amount of concussions. I don't know if there's any other player in the league that has suffered as many concussions as you have. Why not ride off into the sunset? Thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think he should keep on playing? Do you want your team to sign him? Is that why? Is your team lacking at the tight end position? I understand, but you might want to look elsewhere. Someone with a not so robust injury history. Drop a like if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys on the next one.